Excuse me, hello. It says I'm live, which means that I'm probably live. I trust this. So anyway, I was watching a video. I've watched like the first 3 seconds. Realistically, like maybe the first 45 seconds of a video last night, and then I turned it off because it was time to go to bed. Speaking of time to go to bed, not trying to be on here for multiple hours today because it's a work day. Meaning I gotta work tomorrow. So it's already 11:30. It's 10:50. So PM or like what 22:51 if you follow a 24-hour clock. Um, but anyway, he was talking about how this eclipse is related to the one that happened in April, full moon, or I guess just the eclipse cycle. It was a full moon Scorpio lunar eclipse, and then also the one that happened last November, which was the first, I guess, in this series, full moon Taurus lunar eclipse. Now, I love these cards without the borders. Also, I'm using my old webcam, so it might be a hit to the quality, but it's fine because I didn't feel like setting up one of the other cameras. So, oh, you're fine, Holly. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I hope it doesn't hit your pocket too hard. Ooh, the world and the lovers. Wait. I'm used to holding them like up here, but we gotta hold on. I love these cards without the borders. Like I got these the same day I got the deck of heroes, and my little thing isn't out. I guess I'm not using it today. We got bare table. You hear that? That's wood. um, yeah, I got this the same day I got the other ones. The mini Santa Muerte, the deck of heroes, and the runic tarot. But I was like, oh, snap! Bottom of the deck is the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles come out. I literally just opened this. I'm shuffling them. Um, have a good night. It's good to see you too. Ten of Cups, Nine of Wands, and a title card. Both title cards, and the Fool and the Fool. So the bottom of the deck is the Ten of Cups with the Nine of Wands. Both title cards. Is that one just blank? No, it's not. And then the Fool is under that, with the King of Swords under the Fool. So the King of Swords, and then the Hermit and the Ace of Cups. Anyway, the King of Swords is what we need to do to get the ball rolling in the direction that we wish for it to roll in, right? The Queen of Cups intuits the outcome. The Queen of Swords takes the necessary steps to see it through. So anyway, I'm going to try to give these a few shuffles. Actually, I'm going to do this. We're going to shuffle out 6, or split it 6 ways. Because like I said, I literally just opened this. But anyway, and if y'all recall, when I was doing the Virgo reading on that 5.5 whatever hour video, I was like, watch, when we have that full moon Virgo lunar eclipse, it's going to be a total eclipse because you're not going to get a partial lunar eclipse from Virgo. It's just not going to happen. And my journey buddy called me today, and she was like, this is the last total lunar eclipse until 2025. And I was like, 2025, that's like 3 years from now. When is that eclipse in Virgo? Or I was like, when is that eclipse? And she was like, March 14th. And I was like, that's full moon Virgo lunar eclipse because that's Pisces season. And it's on Pi Day. But anyway, I told y'all, I just had a feeling. I had a feeling that Virgo wasn't playing with us. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a card from the Energy Oracle cards because Cindy is using them right now, and I love the Energy Oracle cards, and I haven't used them in a while, so I want to use them. Also, I've been seeing some people use like the tea leaf, and I'm like, oh, I want to use the tea leaf. I haven't used those in a while. I mean, she inspired me to use them. Reminded me that I have this deck. I mean, there are a few decks that I have that I want to use. Like, I want to use the Happy Tarot again. I want to use the Rainbow Tarot. I feel like I didn't really get to use the Runic Tarot as much. I feel like I've barely used the SKT Revelations, and I was so hyped for that, but it's like I have so many now. And then I want to get into like ones that I don't use that often. Nine of Wands and the Six of Wands. This is one of my favorite Nine of Wands cards because of how the person is depicted. Ooh, Two of Cups and Temperance. So anyway, I'm going to get an Energy Oracle card, and then I'm going to get I want to get three. So originally I wanted to get a card for this eclipse, the one that happened earlier this year, full moon Taurus, or full moon Scorpio, and then another one for the full moon Taurus last year. And then I wanted to pull three cards from the the regular sized Witch's Tarot, and then I wanted to clarify with the mini Witch's Tarot. But it's already 11 o'clock at night, and like I said, I'm not trying to be up all night. So, contrary to popular belief, the Knight of Swords with the Seven of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Again, I love these without borders. This is like full art. Okay, that should be good. There we go. Who's at the bottom of the deck? The Lovers is at the bottom of the deck. And you can see the angel clear as day. I feel like it's easy. Oh, wait, never mind. It's probably because I got my cataracts removed. I was going to say, I feel like it's easier to see the angel in this deck. It took, like, I had this deck for a hot minute. This was the second deck I bought. I got it off of Wish. And I didn't connect to it for a while, but it was the one that I would, like, sort of, like, travel with or use for, like, not me personally. And then after I started doing that, I connected to it in a way. The Two of Cups and the Ten of Wands. Okay. Also, this deck was met with an unfortunate accident, so the Ten of Cups got some water damage. Six of Swords at the bottom of the deck, which is interesting because the Six of Swords was at the top of the deck when I pulled it out. It was the final card the last time I used this deck. So I will timestamp when I actually start this, since it's been like 10 minutes. So I'm going to read this Patrick style, meaning that whatever comes out in the bigger deck, I'll pull before and after in the smaller one. And that's how we'll clarify those. What I've noticed personally, so walking away in the Angel of Balance. I thought that was indecision for a second. Because so last November, that's when I was like triggered. I don't know if y'all remember, but like that's like in a way that I hadn't been triggered since I started my journey. Like the amount of fear that just like came rushing back because I was like, what if I can't do this? What if I can't do that? Like, I should just give up. Like, I should just quit. I shouldn't even try. And I wrestled with it for a few days, and I talked to my mom about it, and she was like, I'd support your choice and decision, whatever choice you make. And I was like literally the point of me starting my journey was so that wouldn't happen. That's the reason why I was like, it was what, 2 months before graduation. The first, not the first time I was supposed to graduate, but it was like 2 months before graduation in 2018, and everything just fell apart because I got triggered, and then I got hit with a wave of depression that turned into a tsunami. That was like the worst depression I had ever experienced. And then when that, like, it lasted, like, it was really, really bad for a few days. Um, and when I came out of that, I was like, I cannot go back to that place. If I do, I'm not going to make it. And that's when I decided to, like, do everything, no matter what I had to do to get out of that space, I would do it. So anyway, like, I hadn't been triggered until like that moment. So from basically from October, from November 2018 all the way up to, oh wow, it's Scorpio season, I guess. My Pluto was in Scorpio. I'm like, why do? Because like that November hits me, and it's not like every year. I don't think it'll be like every other year or every 3 years. I'll just get like triggered in November. But anyway, so from like November 2018 to November 2021, I was good until November 2021. But that's when I made the decision. I was like, I literally lived my whole life not even trying. I don't want to do that anymore. So I committed myself to try. And then when January rolled around, when actually it was like, yeah, it was January because she didn't come back from work after we had like the week of Christmas off. I had to do the thing, right? And then I was like, they were like, oh, it's only temporary. Like, you know, we're covering maternity leave here in America. You get like 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. And so, but in the middle of her maternity leave is when we got the announcement that the plant would be closing by the end of the year. And the person at the time just called her and basically told her, you need to get another job. Didn't really give her journey. So at the bottom of all these decks, we have the Lovers, the Six of Swords, and Journey. Under that, we have the Five of Cups, the Star, and Caring Connections. And then under that, we have the Five of Wands, the Page of Swords, and financial constraints. It feels like there's a forward directing energy. So, like, if you're moving forward, it's going to support that movement forward. That's the Lovers, the Six of Swords, and the Journey. If you're not like moving forward, it feels like it heals, soothes, and like gently tries to push you in that direction. Because when it was the Five of Cups, we had the Star, which was the healing and the balance. Like, the Star is literally filling the cups that were spilled when this person isn't even looking. Um, and then that culminates in Caring Connections. When it's the Five of Wands, or when it comes to like financial constraints, well, the Five of Wands is this like sort of not necessarily knowing what to do. It's kind of like the crap hitting the fan. Excuse me, but then there's like this Page of Swords, new perspective thing that sort of catches your eye. And the door that is financial constraints is like a jar. Maybe it's not a jar. It was reading as a jar. Is she a jar? Oh, girl. Oh, okay. I feel like I ain't really used this deck in a minute. It's open, but we don't see anything there. But if we look at this, like this piece of paper, or like even whatever that is, it feels like there's something of value. Because while things do appreciate, or while things do depreciate with time, it reaches a certain point where they start to appreciate. It's like that. And then it, like the longer, like the more value it has because of age. And it honestly makes me think, I'm briefly mentioned it, like I right now I'm being directed to return to a path that I decided I didn't want. And now it's like it's now that I've experienced this past year, I'm like, I do actually want that. And I'll talk a little bit more about it in a second. I have a friend who's doing the same thing. I know a few other people who are in a space of reconsidering things that they, at one point or another, didn't necessarily think that they would do. Or they didn't think that they would devote as much time, energy, effort, and attention. They didn't think it would be like their center focus. And it's coming back. Um, so it's almost like those things that depreciated at a certain point are appreciating now as we whatever. My trains of thought are all over the place. I don't even remember what I was talking about before I went there, but that's what it feels like. Of course, we have to be in a position to align with it or allow it. We can resist and fight if we want. That's our choice. Our choices are honored. Without consequence, choice would mean nothing. Um, and consequence isn't always bad. It's just like action reaction, right? So anyway, um, April is when I found out that she was leaving. She probably left in April. I think it was like the end of April she left. And I was like, well, now I have to do this full time. And then not too long afterwards, I find out that my other coworker is going to transfer. So I'm like, now I'm going to be all by myself. I'm going to have to do everything all alone, which is what I had to do for the month of January because one person was out on maternity leave. The other person was out on sick leave for basically the whole month. And then my supervisor at the time wasn't trying to help me with anything. It prepared me for literally all three of them being gone and me being the only person there. And now here in November, I reached the end. I have a few weeks left. My job is like basically over. Work is pretty slow. And so now I'm like wrapping things up and closing it down, right? And I'm looking towards the horizon. That Aksunade energy it was rough. I feel like it's calmed down enough, but also with where I am right now, if I look back at April and if I look back at November, those were incredibly challenging times. Like I heavily, heavily, heavily considered just quitting and walking away both times. The second time for a slightly different reason, but not. It wasn't as bad the second time. Well, I feel like I wasn't triggered as bad the second time, but it definitely really sat on my mind for a while. Um, and I guess the wild part is that if I didn't make the choice and decision to stay, I can't say that I wouldn't be on the path and trajectory that I'm on right now because the universe has a way, like that gentle redirection. It has a way of getting us where we're going to go, right? So, in my finite wisdom, I can't, and knowledge, I can't be like, oh, I wouldn't have made it to this path. But even with like everything I've experienced since the beginning of the season, like last November was the opportunity for me to set a precedent for myself that I had never set for myself before. It was an opportunity for me to try and then to find out that I can succeed. Another thing that happened in April, or another thing that happened because I've been by myself, is that all of the stuff that I wasn't that great at, that I didn't want to do, I would like push off on the other person. I mean, I would kind of push it off on the other person, kind of like it would already be done by the time I came into work. But after she left, I had to do it myself. And then I'm like, oh, It's not that bad. And I'm like, I can get through it pretty quickly. I'm not breaking slides anymore. But again, it's like because I never took up that challenge, I never got any better at it. And so now here I sit in front of, as I'm sure a lot of us are, a whole world of opportunity that is no less terrifying than the last November, but in a completely different way. But again, it's like because of the choices and decisions that I've made up until this point that I can choose to continue moving forward now. It makes it a lot easier to choose to continue moving forward now. So it's all rather quite gorgeous, honestly. And maybe that Taurus North Node is finally going to do something. Because I feel like it's just been a bunch of Scorpio South Node. Is that how the nodes work, though? Like the South Node is just like the energy, and then we have to like climb and fight for the North Node? Like, anyway. So that's been my little Taurus Scorpio eclipse journey so far. Gorgeous, gorgeous things await. And again, I don't know. I'm glad that I've had the support that I've had. I'm glad that I've had all of you here. And I'm glad that everything like that I've done along my journey up until this point has like gotten me to the point where again, like I can at least try, and more than try, I can do. And then more than do, I can succeed. And then more than succeed, I can thrive. See, because that is the ultimate end goal for me. Like Rob said, Patrick is trying to take it easy. But there were a lot of things in Patrick's head and in Patrick's heart and in Patrick's mind that would prevent him/me from being able to take it easy. So all of that stuff had to go. 10 of Pentacles again. The Lovers and the 10 of Pentacles at the cut again. It's gorgeous energy. But anyway, enough about me. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Hopefully y'all are doing whatever you got to do to get wherever you want to go. And hopefully you have the encouragement and support that you need to get there. Ooh, shadow side. I just saw shadow side flip over with like 3 cards. Oh, ooh, Temperance and the 9 of Cups. And the Ace of Cups in the world. What? Temperance, the 9 of Cups, the Ace of Cups, and the world. With Temperance, like it feels like there's this back and forth energy. It's increasing our capacity. And then the King of Pentacles is behind the world, if you were curious. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous energy. Because I talked about how, because of past experiences, I reached a point where I was like, you know what? I understand that dynamics are going to be different between me and different people. I know that, like, not everyone gets everything. And that's fine. It's not for everybody, right? There are different kinds of relationships and there are different levels to those relationships. But I want a space where I can like show up fully, where I don't have to worry about doing too much or giving too much or whatever. I was like, that's what I want. And I talked about how they were like I got a 5-liter gallon and like there was a 2-liter capacity jug and a 3-liter jug, and I'm trying to pour in all 5 liters. I didn't in that same video, and I talked to my journey buddy, and she she highlighted that point to me. 4 of Wands at the bottom. Wait, I'm shuffling these through again since I went through like the bottom 3 cards. She reminded me though that like where my capacity was at the beginning of those experiences and where my capacity was at the conclusion of those experiences were not the same. So my capacity has been increasing. And as my capacity has increased, I've I've been asking for more. And then, maybe I'll find more and it'll happen again. My capacity will increase and then there'll be a limit that is reached. And Temperance at the bottom of the deck again. Oof. I need to stop looking because I really do want to start. But also, I guess I'll share this just in case, I guess. I don't know. And every time every time my capacity would deepen, I would get triggered. And because of November 2018, well, honestly, because of October 2018, when I had my darkest night, that when I finally came out of it, I was like, I cannot go back there. If I go back there, I will not make it out. And November was when I was like, I'm not going to go back. It was actually my 4th birthday a few days ago. I went out to celebrate it with my mom this weekend, yesterday. Today's Monday. Yeah, I went out with her yesterday. Oh, I see Justice. Who is these? 7 of Pentacles with Justice, the 7 of Cups, and the 7 of Swords. Bottom of the deck is the Page of Cups. I need to stop looking. I need to just get this shuffled. But yeah, that's when I made that choice and decision. And so when I was triggered every time King of Pentacles at the cut again, it was like, well, I know what I have to do. Like, I'm not going to go back to who I was. I'm not going to go back to that life because I want more than that. And whatever I need to do to get that more, I'm going to do it. And so I would face my trigger, my capacity would increase, and then it was just a reason, a season, a cycle. I mean, it's not that all of them didn't pan out to be lifetimes. It's like, if it is a lifetime thing, then that dynamic stayed there. It didn't continue or whatever. But even though it stayed in that category, but it deepened in other ways, if that makes sense. And again, whew, I guess in asking for everything, I was also asking to face the parts of me that keep me from holding, experiencing everything. And it's gotten easier over time. I don't even know if easier is necessarily the word. It's just like I've fallen into a routine of facing things and moving on. Which is again, I'm glad I did, because it, as difficult as those times have been, just having that new habit made it easier. And of course, my dynamic and relationship with myself has improved tremendously. And it was 2 weeks ago. It was in January. I think it was January of this year, or early last year, where I got the realization that I minimize a lot of the stuff that I go through and experience. And then I always try to find fault in myself for not being further or whatever. Don't do that as much anymore. But it was 2 weeks ago. I was like, what? Are you telling me that one thing that I experienced was really that bad? And I was like, oh wait, yeah. I got if I would have heard anyone else going through that, I would oh my gosh. But since it was me, I was just anyway, it's fine. Okay. Enough about me. Let's get into these gorgeous energies. If they're not gorgeous, then it's, it's whatever it needs to be, whatever the most. I almost want to just pull right off the top, but I won't. Angel of Balance at the bottom of the deck. Number 48. Carrying connections with the Angel of Balance. Love that energy. If you've experienced the opposite of carrying connections, maybe the Angel of Balance is going to bring you the opposite of that, which is the carrying connections. Okay. So this is the current eclipse energy. I saw you flip over. Here you are. Today, no, on 11/11, it'll be 11/11/22. 11 plus 11 in Cindy math is a 22. And then a Cindy math 22/22 is a 44. The woman holding a heart. Who's at the bottom of the deck? Deceit is at the bottom of the deck. This is that too good to be true. This deceit, though, it's an energy of self-sabotage, but it's almost like this deceit is holding a broken heart, but it's not letting anyone or anything close enough to heal it, fix it, mend it, or even like look at it. So it's a very wounded energy. And it's almost like a wounded dog where like you can see it like limp or whatever, and whenever you try to like look at its leg, it'll like hide it. But anyway, this woman holding her heart is gorgeous. Not that we're just gonna glaze over the deceit. Like allow yourself to receive and accept, especially like. But I guess that's the thing about like doing the work is that it doesn't necessarily automatically and inherently make facing the past. It's almost like it doesn't take the feeling out of it. The feeling gets taken out of it when you make whatever healed choice and decision you make. When you move yourself out of that sort of dynamic. I'm doing the timestamp real quick. That's why I'm like typing. Because I just remembered I said I did that. Intro is the ramble, obviously. So with this woman holding a heart, and I'll put deceit at the bottom. I'll put it under the woman holding a heart because that was the energy at the bottom of the deck. 44 is an 8, 25 is a 7. So it would be to take a step back from whatever is sort of being presented. It's something that we work through, you know. Ooh, two cards stayed on the table. I'll take them as one. I would love. Maybe I'll do like 2 instead of 3 because, like I said. Or should I just take these 2? I'll just take these 2. Knight of Cups at the bottom of the deck. And it does look like this woman is like presenting her heart. Love the butterfly transformation. And there are like lots of other hearts in this. So it's like it's more than just romantic love. It's more than just platonic. Like it's communal, it's familial, it's pervasive. And there is a certain element of vulnerability that's present because you can see how the top half of her torso is uncovered. But with the part of her torso being covered that is covered, it's almost like, again, especially if we're coming out of a self deceit or deceit of others from others, like if that's one of the wounds that we carry, it's like we're human. We're not necessarily expected to be perfect right out of the gate, right? it just feels like it leaves room for things to unfold, right? Like, you just met. She's got to leave something to the imagination. Or if she's you, like, you got to leave something to the imagination. And it's not about withholding. It's just like, as we get to know other people, as we get to know ourselves, there are going to be things that we discover. And the heart is capable of holding all of it. It's capable of expansion. The more you give with love, the more you get. If you withhold it, you actually lose. It's like water or anything that flows, like money. Circulation is good. It's like blood in the body, right? You don't want it to not circulate to certain parts of the body, because then it's going to atrophy and decay, and you'll probably have problems. So the first card left on the table is the Five of Cups, which we've already seen. But what I'm focusing on is that, because that is, for me, is reading like a gate of Sahakiel. And the gate of Sahakiel is like that brand new opening and the new beginning. I guess the concern with this Five of Cups, what I like about this Five of Cups more than like any other, is that it's like she's, like her eyes are closed, but she's facing the general direction of the two cups that are still upright, right? Rather than looking back towards these. But again, like her eyes are closed. So does she see them? Like that opportunity is coming in with this open gate archway. But it's like we have to be detached enough from the old to try. The other card is the Six of Swords. What's interesting with the Six of Swords as compared to the Five of Cups is it seems like the mermaid could get through that gate a lot quicker and exert a lot less effort because she's biologically, anatomically designed for this environment. She doesn't have to invent and mold a contraption and then use different means of like translating sort of energy, right? I mean, I guess he could swim, but it's different than like paddling with this sort of like oar. Or if it's shallow enough, it's different than the things where you like stick it in the bottom and you like move the boat along like a gondola question mark. Like, hey Siri, what's a gondola? I think it's a gondola. When the moon hits, sorry, you're right, like a big pizza pie, that's amore. Things are moving. So I'm going to look before and after the Five of Cups and the Six of Swords to clarify. Well, there's the Five of Cups. Hold up, wait, is that how that? Yeah, that's how that came out. The Page of Cups. Well, I guess I should leave it in here. The Page of Cups and the Eight of Wands come out before and after. So again, it's like she's naturally suited to that environment. She can get down there a lot quicker. This is a lot quicker than this. And it's not to compare the two necessarily. Like, the comparison is not the point. The point is that it's like it doesn't have to be as slow or long or drawn out or difficult as we think, but it's almost like it's a trade, I guess, because it's going to require something of her to move. But when she makes that choice, she'll move a lot quicker. And it's like if it required less of us, then we would move slower. And again, it's like it's not about necessarily moving faster or slower. It's just like, it's hard to describe. Okay, let me find the Six of Swords. And the Page of Cups is sort of offering this cup, just like the woman holding a heart is offering the heart. I think the Page of Cups also has an innocence to it. Um, it breeds a naivety. It has a naivete to it that is a lot more open, and it's a lot more vulnerable, and it's a lot less jaded, unless it's freaking red. Little Red Riding Hood. Oof. I feel like this. Maybe I should just quit here and just be like, go and watch the mini paths video, because that's the last time I used this deck. I'm pretty sure, because I remember the Six of Swords that came out here on this side, and then on the other side, it was like in the deck of heroes that somebody else was on a boat. But I guess like this is illustrating what I was sort of saying, where it's like we don't necessarily escape the challenge. Because with the Six of Swords, it came out in between the Three of Swords and the Four of Cups. And so maybe this Six of Swords, it makes me think of how Rob reads the Six of Swords sometimes, where it can be like, if we move before we've fully healed and processed, we run the risk of taking things along with us that we don't need. And again, it's like one isn't necessarily better than the other. And so it's like either we process through it first and then we move like really quickly because everything that will rise as a barrier we can already work through, or we go and we process along the way. Either way, we're going to get where we're going when we're supposed to, like, and we're going to get where we're going in our time, right? Either way, there are going to be things that we have to work through still. Just moving doesn't necessarily fix anything. Like, ask anybody who distracts themselves by staying busy. You don't work through anything while you're distracting yourself. It's still going to be there. It's still going to sit on your mind. Unless it's related to a time thing, in which case the choice and decision will be made for you by time. And then you would have to deal with the consequence of that. So it still doesn't necessarily free you. What's interesting too is we see another mermaid in this Four of Cups. It's a real Eric and Ariel situation. I think, though, it's like if you move and then to the processing, it makes me think of how I've experienced it, where it's like you set a precedence of movement or a precedent. You set a precedent of movement. And so it's almost like you change your habit, you change your default, which again, like, it's great for movement, but it's not necessarily helpful in facing things and dealing with things. It makes it really easy to just like push things to the side and keep moving. It makes it's like, it's almost like it encourages suppression and bypassing and all kinds of stuff. Eventually those things will need to be sort of taken care of. But it's almost like you meet people or you have experiences along the way that make it easier. Because now he's not alone. So again, like, either way, it's not, one isn't necessarily better than the other. You don't have to force yourself into whatever isn't for you, which is why I said, like, it feels like that many paths. Whatever is your path, whatever is your journey, whatever is your way will be the most beneficial for you. What works for me might not necessarily work for you. And I know I'm the type of person, what works for other people ain't gonna necessarily work for me. And I don't know if that's because that's always been the mentality that I've had, kind of, sort of, partially. But also at the same time, like, I know I'm a different person. Like, I'm wired differently. I process things differently. I work through things differently. So it doesn't do me any favors to adopt someone else's method, especially if their method is so unlike me. Does it help expand your awareness? Does it help give you some extra tools? Like, yeah. Could it be beneficial? Sure, because that's another thing here. It's about changing the narrative. And sometimes it's easiest to discover who we really are or what we really align to when we sort of step outside of ourselves. Or sometimes it helps us appreciate, right? Who us and stuff. So that's this current eclipse. So either way, it's like it's either moving or taking that opportunity for movement, but either way, there are going to be things for us to sort of work through. And if you want to see, like, here's the Page of Cups, here's the woman holding the heart. Again, like, both sort of offering. But I like that it's a child because, again, it brings in that energy of vulnerability or like a fresh mind. Like, but these are also children. Well, one of them is a child. I mean, one of them looks a lot younger than the other one. I don't know how old mermaids are, but the lady mermaid is looking a little older. Maybe the older lady mermaid is your intuition. It's the wisdom of source, God, creator, universe, your ancestors, angels, and guides within you. But again, it's like it's this precipice between the water and the land. So it's gonna run aground. And if it's a mermaid, unless she's gonna flop like a fish to you, it's like there's something that we have to pick up and sort of carry forward and do. So now let's roll this baby. Ooh, adjacent possibilities with the world. It's like there are entire universes through these doors. And then patience behind that. So, ooh, the man holding a heart at the cut. Wait. Adjacent possibilities. Wait. Meet me in the hallway after class. I'm sorry. Woo, meet me in the hallway after class and we'll pick a new world to go to together. Oh. That was quick. Okay, come through number 47. So, the full moon Scorpio eclipse 2022 in April. Was it April? I keep saying April because I feel like I heard somebody say April. Yeah, because we're having full moons early. I feel like we've been on that. I'm so in my own head and upside down that I actually love it when we have the new moon first and then the full moon. Because in my brain, it makes more sense. Like, tell me what I need to do, and then give me an opportunity to do it. Like, but also, I'm the type of person that like needs a prompt because I need something to help me focus, or my brain will just be everywhere. The thinking woman is what that Sun in Taurus, Moon in Scorpio is giving us. The bottom of the deck is cornucopia, though. This is 1111. 1147. I've been seeing 1147 like crazy for a hot minute. And one night it was 1147. And I was like, you know what? Let me just Google 1147, angel number, whatever. And it's like, you're on the right path. You're making the right choices. Keep moving forward. So it almost feels like April, that last lunar eclipse, started, it's like it kickstarted desire. Like she's thinking about, and it's funny because I was talking about the relationship between water and fire, which literally came out under the Five of Cups, but anyway. And I was like, even with earth and air, sometimes if you want more, Kirsty, good morning. Oof, I must be up late. I'm up late and you're up early. But it's like if you want more material wealth, sometimes it requires a new idea. And that's the correlation between earth and air, right? And it's almost like that's what happens here. She's like thinking about how to get this cornucopia. Maybe she can like feel it in her energy field, but she's like, how do I get there? How do I bring that energy in? But it feels like that would have been the asking. It's where the manifestation was born, or somewhere around that time. I can think of something else that was happening at that time for me personally, but that relates more. I guess that one sort of served as an in between. It served as a crux because there are multiple areas that get affected by energy. The energies. The thinking woman in cornucopia. You know what I love though? Yes, it feels like this. It's like some of the things that we're going to start experiencing, some of the things, opportunities that are going to be presenting themselves to be realized were born here. But I love that, like, there's this little butterfly right there, that pop of color in this bleak, bleak, bleak world. All the colors in cornucopia, too. Feels like that butterfly came from the cornucopia universe. It's just like, oh, here, the butterfly is this little. Is that a fairy or is it another butterfly? I don't know. You see that? Whatever that is, a petal. That's this butterfly. But the thing that I love, and this is the thinking woman, right? Well, what sits on the crown of the woman holding a heart is that butterfly. So it's like it smacks her on the forehead, and then she's like, oh, she has an epiphany. She's like, haha, Eureka, I got it. I know how I'm going to get exactly what I want. But less evil. A stroke of maniacal genius. Angel of Strength is under that cornucopia. I love that the Angel of Strength is under the cornucopia. You can see it, but can you get it? So let's see. Should I go for 2 cards again? We'll just get however many come out. And then we'll clarify that many. So, Thinking Woman in Cornucopia, April. Also, like, because I was thinking about it before I went live. I'm like, and I said it earlier. Like, where is this North Node Taurus energy? Are we about to start experiencing? I mean, I feel like it's been there, sure. In Scorpio shadow. But are we about to start experiencing what Taurus can give us? Like, is that 2 cards? Yes, it is. Oof. Bottom of the deck is the 3 of Cups. This is literally the bottom of the deck being the 3 of Cups. It's resonance, it's attraction, it's alignment. Because the first card, the top card that came out is the 2 of Wands. The bottom card that came out is the shadow side. So if we're in misery loves company, if we're in the shadow side, we're going to attract more shadow side energies to us, and it's going to be even heavier. If we're in an energy of like movement and expanding horizons, we're going to attract in energies that continue to expand and broaden our world, right? Both of these energies lead to this encounter with the butterfly. It feels like one is more directly aligned to it, and the other is more, I want to say, like antithetically aligned to it. But it's like when you experience something terrible or not great, but it causes you to desire something that isn't that. So it's like either way, the desire for cornucopia comes in. It's like either there was something that transpired before full moon Scorpio in April lunar eclipse, where we're already in an energy of like broadening and expanding. I mean, it's the Two of Wands, so it's kind of like the first steps. It's not the Three of Wands or the Six of Swords or the Eight of Cups or the Ten of Wands, where it's like later in that suit and movement. It's like literally the beginning. It's the outset. And it feels like these two energies are really, really similar. The difference is in the people. This is someone who's used to light at this point, so the light doesn't like burn his retinas or like, he doesn't hiss and recoil from the light. These are the ones who are used to living in shadow. And so the light, it's like they've become afraid of the light. They've become garnered fear against the very things that they desire. They wish for the cornucopia, but they at the same time they fear it for whatever reason. But either way, the desire is there. So now I'm going to give this a shuffle. And some of these shuffles. Give it two of these. I'm going to cut it. Like, ooh, oh, ooh. Who are you? Is that, oh my gosh, the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups that's literally at the bottom of the deck. And the Six of Cups is under the Three of Cups. You know what the 3 plus the Six of Cups equals? Well, the Three of Cups plus the Six of Cups equals the Nine of Swords. It was supposed to be the Nine of Cups, but Swords is like, nah. And that's like that sort of, either that can be like overthinking, over planning, over forcing certain circumstances and situations to proceed in a certain way to get that cornucopia, or on the shadow side of things, again, it's like it causes fear. And that fear can be related to like questions of self-worth, self-doubt, like, previous disappointments. A card flipped over, so this one like turned over as I was shuffling and went back in the deck. Not fully though, because this was sticking out. And on the other side of that Three of Cups is the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords we saw with, oh, what card was that? The Five of Wands. It was the Five of Wands and the Page of Swords. And it was the new perspective that was needed. Cornucopia is here. The card that was at the bottom of the Energy Oracle cards was financial constraints. So, this Three of Cups, this is us when we more or less expect more of the same. But the Page of Swords is the courage and bravery that it takes to consider the fact that things might just play out differently. I think another thing with the Page of Swords is the Page of Swords is naive. All the pages are naive. Not necessarily in a bad way, and not necessarily in a truly naive way. All of the pages can be perceived as naive, but just like the Fool, they can know exactly what they're doing. But it feels like, oh, in the naivete of the Page of Swords, it's like, it's the courage and the strength and the bravery that like maybe it won't turn out the same that it did before. And the reason why it won't turn out the same way that it did as before is because of the Three of Cups. It's because of the environment that you put yourself in now. And so there's like this clash between the history and historical context and everything that used to happen and the environment that you're in right now, where things are already changing. Again, like the butterfly is the emissary from the land of cornucopia. Things have already changed. You have already healed this and healed that. You've already made your way out of whatever dungeon she had to crawl out of to end up here on this level. Like it's like with this book, it makes me think of, I think it's the Page of Swords in the Light Seers Tarot. Well, it's any of those pages. Oh, Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Wait, sorry. It's 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 like this new. It's almost like a journal was kept of all of the strange and unusual things that have occurred in life since something happened to begin shifting things. That something happening is like dark night of the soul that leads to healing, that leads to a journey. And then again, like with the Three of Cups, the Three of Cups attracts and magnetizes. Like that's it. It's just an energy of attracting and bringing like to like. And so it's like we're on a spectrum shifting from one into the other. And as we experience more of over here, like our book fills up. And that's why, like with that Page of Swords, it's like, oh, like yeah, that used to be the case, and like that used to be a thing or whatever. But like now that everything's like sort of shifting and happening, maybe the environment is perfectly suitable for growing, taking care of, supporting this thing that would have failed in the past. I don't know. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ace of Cups, the Chariot, and the Page of Wands are at the bottom of the deck. And then the Star is behind that Page of Wands. And then the Fool is behind that. See, so it feels like it starts out as a sort of naivete, but through the Star, it feels like the Star is evolving it into. It feels like it's only naivete when it isn't proven to self. It's like, oh, I got this gut feeling, or like something is telling me to do this, but I don't really know. Like, I don't really like know if I should trust it, but like it's really telling me. But the Fool is like, oh, this is my intuition. This is the divine letting me know 1147 that this is the path that I should take, and these are the things that I need to do to continue along that path. Like that's the Fool. The Fool is the one that knows what that is. The Page is the one that's like questioning it, but still doing it, but like thinking about it, but maybe not doing it. But like it's like really, now it's the Fool. It's like, oh yeah, divine saying it's time to go, so I'm gonna leap off this cliff, and then a plane is gonna come up, and I'm gonna hang on to the wing, and it'll take me all the way home. I don't know. It'll take me where my feet can't tread. I don't know. So we're looking for the Two of Wands and the shadow side. I wonder who we'll encounter first. I almost feel like the shadow side for some reason, but oh, I was wrong. It's the Two of Wands. So we have the Hanged Man, the Two of Wands, and the title card. Behind this title card is the Magician, the one that makes things happen. I'm going to keep going and find the shadow side. Nine of Pentacles, shadow side, Ten of Cups. I feel like this energy, again, like check out the mini paths reading because it's so like, again, it's like the one that you think would be in a better position has like worse clarifiers, and the one that you think will be worse has better clarifiers. And again, it's just like it feels like ultimately it's this like our path is our path. And it almost feels like, especially reading this on like two different lines, it makes it like we fall into comparison. And so it feels like it's almost like to not to keep things fair, but to be like there'll be challenge either way. There's going to be progress either way. It all lies in our choice. When we choose, when we reach that point where we make the decision to move forward, we will get where we're going. You're not late. You're not slow. Everything in its time and its season. You are in your time and your season. Other people have their times and their seasons, and we don't see all that each other go through. The Two of Wands with the title card is in the Hermit, the Hanged Man. With this title card is interesting. This was printed in Poland. What's interesting is so the mini is copyrighted 2021. The original is copyrighted 2012. What's interesting about this is on my phone call with my journey buddy, she was like, the last time we were on this ecliptic axis was 2012 to 2014. So a quick Google search will tell me, or do eclipses 2012. Had 4 eclipses, 2 solar, 2 lunar, and also a rare planet transit. So solar eclipse was May 20th, 21st. Ooh, that's on the cusp of Taurus and Gemini. November 28th, that is like Sagittarius all day long. So it was a Sagittarius lunar eclipse. November 13, 14 solar. Total solar eclipse. So that would have been new moon, Scorpio, lunar eclipse. What's interesting, I guess the rare transit. So there was a partial solar eclipse. No, partial lunar eclipse, June 3, 4, which would be full moon Sagittarius. But it mentions a transiting Venus on June 5, 6. I guess the interesting part is that Venus is transiting the sun, or transiting with the sun in this. Well, it's 2022 now, it's not 2021. It was transiting the moon in 2012 during the lunar eclipse. Yeah. Anyway, so it wasn't. It was like almost Taurus. It was like early Gemini because it was like May 2021. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. That was the introduction to. That was when we were shifting into the Taurus, Scorpio nodes. I'm sure. Is that right? The Hanged Man and the title card with the Two of Wands. It feels like the hangman with the title card. I had a dream the other night. It was a weird dream. But in one part of the dream, it was like, think of a forest that is a labyrinth. Think of the labyrinth and how it changes as you're walking through it. It was one of those forests, but the forest only changed if you like turned away. And so I was at the start of the forest and I was like, I'm going to take the first right and it's going to take me exactly where I need to go. So I'm walking through the forest. I'm like, I understand what this forest is, but I know where I'm going. And then I almost hear something behind me. And in the dream, I knew nothing was there. I knew nothing was there, but I turned around anyway. And then I was like, oh crap. The forest has shifted. Everything is different. What I thought would be the exit is not. So at that point, I just started running because I'm like, my intuition is going to tell me when to turn off. It's not going to do me any good to slowly walk through this and try to figure my way through whatever, because it's not going to happen. Everything has already changed. And that's what like this feels like. The Two of Wands clarified by the Hangman and the title card. It's like, instead of trying to sit and figure everything out, this is the one that just moves. Which again, like, it's interesting because this is coming under. It's almost like maybe we experience both. Because the one that moved in April is the one that's still now. And the one that was still in April is the one that's moving now. That's why it's this weird, like, wait. Nine of Pentacles, Ten of Cups with the shadow sign. But what this feels like is that, like, something in April, it's almost like something was triggered in April, or something was like painful. But what's interesting, it's like it caused someone to not want to do things alone anymore. Like, it doesn't feel, I mean, it's the shadow side, but it doesn't feel like a pleasurable experience. Maybe it's like an energy of the one who's always used to being alone, doing everything for themselves and not necessarily having anybody that they can rely or depend on. But it's almost like, maybe not for the first time, but something happens that makes them really wish that someone else was there. Little do they know that someone else is there, going through their own sort of shadow, whatever. And it could be aspects of both again. And that's another thing that came out in that many paths reading, because that was more like the sun and the moon. It's like we can be the moon in some areas of life and the sun in other areas of life. Maybe there were some areas in life where we are making movement and things are unknown, but we're pioneering anyway. And maybe there are things that we don't want to face. And so we pioneer over there and we ignore everything over here. But it's almost like that contrast between them. Names, what names? That contrast in between them is what creates like this desire. And maybe that's the book. Maybe it's like, I've already experienced like change. I've already experienced something different in like this area of my life and in that area of my life, but this particular area of my life is staying the same. Like, I want that area to change too. Because the Nine of Pentacles is that independent, solitary soul foundation. Like, But the Ten of Cups is a family. The shadow side triggered a truly gorgeous thought. It's almost like an experience so dark that it caused one to wish or dream of a light that's brighter than any that they had ever dreamed of before up until that point. Potato soup. I saw a loaded potato soup on somebody's menu and I wanted it, but I didn't get it. Oh, I went to Perkins with my mom yesterday and they had loaded potato soup on the menu and I wanted it, but I didn't get it. Thanks for the synchronicity, Holly. Very timely as always. Not just because I saw loaded potato soup on the menu yesterday, if that's what you're curious about, but I'm not going to tell you why it's a synchronicity because that's my business and not any of y'all's watching. So, anyway, continuing and moving forward. And it's like, because I did say, like, the thinking woman might have an idea that there's this cornucopia around, but, like, she doesn't know how to get there. And maybe, again, like, that's this Two of Wands clarified by the Hanged Man and, like, the title card. It's like that's why the Two of Wands is like venturing out, but it doesn't know exactly sort of like where it's going. Excuse me. Another thing about the Hanged Man is it's almost like it's so I don't know how to communicate it. I mean, the Hangman is like it's going against the grain, and because you go against the grain, you see a different perspective. And the title card is there that strengthens that. So it's like it's seeing something that other people might not necessarily be seeing. It's knowing something that others might not necessarily know. And that's why that energy is in the Two of Wands rather than being in the shadow side. And then at the top of the tree, we see the crow dangling a pentacle. Or the raven. Well, that looks pretty big. I think it's a crow. So it's like it's knowing that things are going to change, but not necessarily like when or how. So it's almost like the Two of Wands has that vision, and then on the shadow side, it's like something that happens that causes one to dream of that vision, even because it's like it's so not reality. But in that moment, it's desired more than anything. And again, this is under the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords was the one that like it moves and heals and moves and heals and moves and heals and moves and heals. But because it's always moving, there may be things that it's continuing to carry with it. So now let's go back to last November. Hey, J-Star. Michael. Ooh, I remember, was that early 2020? I think that was early 2020 when I got the Archangel Power Tarot cards. And Michael kept coming out. But every time Michael would come out, it would be like, you need to do this thing that you know you need to do that you're not doing, that you're avoiding. And I'd be like, no, leave me alone. I was like, I don't want to do it. Leave me alone. Go away. That was before. That was before a whole bunch of stuff. And then we got into the Grand Fire Trine coming online and the Grand Air Trine, and that's when all my water ran dry. Oof. Okay. So November, what did you bring us a year ago today? Not today. Strategy. It's interesting that strategy is number 21 because it feels like it plays into the 2012, 2021 of that title card. But we see strategy here. Bottom of the deck is second chakra Archangel Ariel. Ariel, oh my gosh. Second chakra with strategy. So this is the one that really put things in motion. Carrying connections is under that. 21 is a 3, 36 is a 9. We got more of that 3, 6, 9 here. Ooh. I feel like, I don't know. Is it possible to feel manipulated? This is the reason why people say we ain't got no free will. This is the reason why people say choice. We ain't got choice. Choice is an illusion. It was a setup. Let's just get right into emphasis on trap in Tesla trap. I'm just playing. Well, I'm glad. I hope you're not still going through it, J-Star. If you were going through it, then that reads like you're on the other side of it. Oh, that was immediate. That was immediate. Who was that? Flipped over in the deck. Only one card, too. The Four of Cups. The Four of Cups. Darn it. And what did I say up here with this Four of Cups? That the mermaid felt like ancestors, guides, the divine spirit source. We're the kid, they're the mermaid. But what happens when it runs aground? Because the mermaid ain't going to necessarily flop like a fish all the way to us. So it creates this like standstill. That's why there's this strategy with Archangel Ariel or Ariel. And it's almost like this is like our higher self or our inner child. It's like, well, this is what I want in life. And then there's Ariel, like, oh, okay, let's brainstorm. Let's strategize how to get your like 3D self exactly there. Oof. I would be curious to know what your dreams were like in around the full moon Taurus lunar eclipse last year. I'd be curious to know what my dreams were like, but I don't record my dreams anymore, so I can't just open my little app and be like, "Oh, this is the dream that I had on that day." That was the setup, but like it. Oh wait, I'm not. Okay, well we'll see. The Four of Pentacles came out with the World at the bottom of the deck. I'm not going to take these because I'm going to look before and after the Four of Cups, but it's like, so like the Four of Pentacles that came out, it's like that's us in the foundation that we were sort of like in. Standing on our stoop, the world, it's like that's how everything was shifting and changing and moving. And so this Four of Cups strategy meeting, it's like, okay, everything is going to shift and change and move. How are we going to get you to shift and change and move with it? Like, this is the reason why. And it was honestly probably before this. I don't know. But like, this is the reason why. It's not the reason why. It's like, this is where those differences really start coming into play. And the world in this deck it's the Yggdrasil. It's the world tree. We see Hraesvalgr at the top. We see whatever the deer's name is. And then we also get a man and a lion or an angel. A lot of times it's another angel. So there's the angel sitting in the world tree. Okay, well, how do we get this person, this stubborn old bugger? This stubborn old bugger. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. How do we get them to change with everything that's changing and moving? And so I honestly do feel like because this is the Four of Cups all the way down here, I feel like it's both. There are areas where we've experienced movement. There are areas where we experience stagnation. There are areas where we could see beyond all that we've ever experienced. There are areas where we could receive the vision. And then there are areas that we thought wouldn't change or because of things that we experienced in the past, there was pain and trauma that would, I almost want to say pervert, but I don't want to use the word pervert, that would distort the vision. Like in some ways we could see it clear, we could see it plain. In other ways it was distorted because of everything that we've already experienced. This is also low key like Pallas Athena energy for me. And it's Pallas Athena for me because it was 20, it had to be in 2020. It was, I'm pretty sure it was 2020 when everything was conjunct in Pluto and Capricorn before Saturn. That was that 2021 actually? Because I feel like that was 2021. When who you calling? Oh, who said um I'd be furious. I'd be curious. When Saturn and Jupiter conjuncted in Aquarius, before that happened, Saturn conjuncted Pluto in Capricorn. Jupiter conjuncted Pluto in Capricorn. And then they both retrograded to hit Pluto again. I feel like Pluto was masterminding some stuff. But the second time they were retrograding to hit Capricorn, Pallas Athena retrograded to hit Capricorn too. And she was like, "Oh, if they ain't hear it, if they ain't get it the first time, we're gonna make sure they get it now." She's the strategist. I'm blaming Pallas Athena. Where was Pallas Athena on the night of November 15th, 2021 at approximately 8:57 a.m.? I don't know. I don't have my. Oh, it's right here. I do. Let's see. I don't even remember exactly what day. I can look it up. Let me look it up. Let me look it up. Eclipses 2021. Oh wait, I looked it up before. Let's see. November 18th and 19th. So then I go over here and I'll put in. Oh, wait. There's the date. November 19th. We'll do 18th, 2021. The sun was 26 degrees Scorpio. The moon is 16 degrees. Where's Pallas Athena? Where are you? Little troublemaker. Where's Pallas Athena? Pallas Athena was in Pisces, 9 degrees. 9 degrees Pisces, fine. Too far to be a trine. It was sextile in Uranus. Anyway. It's fine. I mean, ultimately, it felt like something that we needed. Pallas Athena was just going to make sure that it happened. Seven of Swords, Six of Cups, and the Fool. This feels like a reclaimed childhood or a reclaimed innocence. Life had stolen something from us. By the end of it, we needed to regain it, but we needed to regain it and mature it. Like putting a 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old and being like, here's a bunch of bills, go be an adult. That doesn't really necessarily help. Not only do we have to reclaim that inner child, we also need to mature it by the end of the day, for it to be fully ready for the next. And then there's the Star and the Page of Wands. So it's almost like the reverse of what happened, because we saw the Page of Wands, the Star, and the Fool at the bottom of the deck for the Thinking Woman. So this is all the strategy, but they were working through it like, it's almost like the way that it came out and the way that it was strategized are like backwards. But it's because like that's a future present energy and we're going present future. So there is a directionality that's sort of like flipped. But behind that Page of Wands again is, well, now it's the world. It's the world and the Four of Pentacles. So this is where they come out. And look, if we go if we go forward, that's exactly how it plays out. We need to get this person right here to this space. Page of Wands, the Star, the Fool. But also, there's something that needs to be reclaimed because it was taken with the Seven of Swords. And with the Seven of Swords being a Swords energy, it feels like too, like there's a lot of reasoning and rationale. It's like, I had to grow up. It's this, it's that, it's bills to pay, mouths to feed, and ain't nothing in this world for free. We're looking for the Four. Oh, I can't look for the Four of Cups. Duh, the Four of Cups is already on the table. The Four of Cups is already on the table, so I can't go looking for it. I had a thought. I was like, what if that happens? I guess it'll refer back. And so it does. And what's super interesting is that the full moon Taurus lunar eclipse that we had last November on the table, it's linking back to the full moon Taurus lunar eclipse that's happening right now. Because the Four of Cups came out to clarify the Six of Swords right now next to the Three of Swords. So that's the end of the reading. At the end of it, it's self-referential. It tied itself up nice and tight. I don't have to do anything. It's all strategy. But the thing, like, that's the reason why people might feel that we don't have choice or free will. It's stuff like that that adds weight to the argument that we don't have choice and will. but spirit has to like strategize to get us to choose something, to get us to make the decision, because at the end of the day we still make those choices and decisions. We very much so do, but it's like they can encourage us or coax us to make certain choices and decisions, and but the choice and decision has to be ours to make at the same time. So it's very tricky. Wow, look at that. Well, that was fun. I hope that, I mean, again, like if y'all watch the shuffle, lovers, 10 of cups, 10 of pentacles, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous energy. The gate of Sahakiel is open. Those waterways and pathways are open. We can now transit into the other side. um, we don't have to stay here. I mean, of course, we can choose to, and it's not even necessarily that we choose to stay here. What we would be choosing is to take this world into the next, because everything is going to change. But we can make the choice to keep living the same life that we've always lived, even though everything is different. Just like people who live in bygone times when things were simpler and whatever, just because the world is in 2022 or whatever year, according to whatever calendar you follow, doesn't mean that your life has to be. There are like entire towns dedicated to stuff like that. You know what I mean? Come here where you can live like it's still 1784. Like Ren fairs, and I've never been to a Ren fair, but I want to try them. So I'm gonna put all these away. I feel like I should timestamp this. We'll do 1:37:30 for the final shuffle. I want to say shuffle finale, but 1:37:30. I think that's what I said. I don't remember. I'm just glad it ain't like 5 hours. You know what I mean? Like I gotta go work tomorrow. I had a dream that I overslept for school, and I'm like, I'm not even in school. I'm just gonna keep sleeping. And then I actually woke up, and I was like, I gotta go to work, and I was like, I could just oversleep. And I thought about it. I did. I did really think about it, and I was like, so I closed my eyes, and I woke up like 10 minutes later, and I was like, okay, I'll just get up. Like with that strategy and second chakra archangel Ariel, it makes it feel like an extra like big deal. You know what I mean? There was so much that was done to prepare us for this time, for this moment, just within the past year alone. Not to even mention everything that we went through before. We've been prepared for this. Okay. Ooh, the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands was at the bottom of the deck before. It's time to move with gusto. Bottom of the deck is the Four of Pentacles. Will you stay or will you go? Do 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 do. Behind the Four of Pentacles is the Ten of Cups. Look how gorgeous, and the Page of Pentacles. At the end of the day, you're going to make the choices and decisions that you make in your life, and I encourage and empower you to do so. Like has been the case so many times, you're not going to miss anything. Like everything is going to change when you are ready. When you make that choice and decision, your eyes will open to see it in a way that maybe you didn't necessarily before. And then you'll get to make the choice and decision to like, okay, you see it, now what are you going to do about it? Like Knight of Wands, like it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something that we enjoy. It's not meant to be boundless tragedy and just like, it can be, but it ain't gotta be. Don't make it so. Say it ain't so, Doc. Groundhog's Day popped up on your feed today? I've never seen Groundhog's Day. But what did happen today, so there's like this one episode of Supernatural where it's Tuesday every day. I went to Taco Bell this morning to get some breakfast because, time went back an hour. So they should have still, even if time didn't go back, I still should have got breakfast. And she was like, we're out of eggs, so we're only doing lunch. I was like, what? But the song "These Are the Moments" came on the radio, and that's the song that played on the Groundhog's Day episode of Supernatural. So I also got a Groundhog's Day-esque sync today. So if that's saying something, hopefully it ain't, but unless it's a Groundhog's Day of like the best day ever, just played over and over and over again. But still, that's only 24 hours. How about like a week of the best days ever? King of Wands at the bottom of this deck. Oof. It all starts somewhere. These are the moments. Page of Swords with the King of Wands. The Page of Swords is like it used to be my least favorite card in this deck just because of how he looks. The High Priestess with the King of Wands. High Priestess is the one that knows that we're going to be the King of Wands, the Queen of Wands. And so it's like, okay, we need to get this Page of Wands to a King of Wands. How we do that? And it's funny because I actually thought about, before I started this, I was going to go find that reading. The one where I was using the magic cards and like the Futurist Sentinel came out, and it's like it was that energy of the future coming back to meet us in the present to ensure that it happens. It's going to help us make the choices. Well, I don't know how much it can help us because, we still got to make those choices. But like the energy of the future, and it's happened a few times in a few readings since then, the energy of the future reaching out to the present to make sure that we get where it is that we're going. I'm going to search future and see if it pops up. No. That was in New Capenna, I'm pretty sure. New Capenna release date? April 29th, 2022. New Capenna released April 29th, 2022. Which I'm pretty sure is the deck, the box set that I would have used for that. So in the window of the full moon Scorpio, lunar eclipse, which is interesting. How many? That was like 6 months ago. April was 4. We're in 11, 7 months ago. Well, we'll go like 6 to 7. Magic Shenanigans. It had to be this one, right? Is this Magic Shenanigans? It got to be Magic Shenanigans, right? I feel like I would have put it in the title. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll link it in the description box after this is up. I'll put it in the comments so you don't have to open the description box. Because I was just curious. It popped into my mind before. So, anyway, we'll go for the big tarot. These are the moments. 3 of Cups with that 6 of Swords. An object in motion wants to stay in motion. An object at rest wants to stay at rest. That is the alignment, the resonance, the attraction of the Three of Cups. It draws like to like. And so we've been like having to change on like such subtle levels. And as we change on, like, there are these subtle changes that add up that create these like larger shifts. And then larger shifts set the stage for greater changes that then welcome in greater changes. So that's why it's all a part of the strategy. Also, the second chakra is where the Kundalini like rests. It's the home of the Kundalini. So Ariel was like, we got to get this Kundalini up and all the way out. Love it. Thank you. The lovers, again, they just keep showing us the lovers. Love it. I was looking for the lovers in this deck. Yeah, I mean, maybe she's a little fainter. No, I think she's about the same. I don't know. It just psychologically feels like she's easier to see. This angel up here. Speaking of angels up here, that's Ariel, Archangel Ariel. Like, yes, they did it. They made it. Woo! The strategy worked. They're making those choices and decisions. Bottom of the deck is the Seven of Cups. It's all about choice at this point. 6, 7, 8. 8 of Swords with the shadow side behind that. They might not be easy still. Because like with that 8 of Swords behind it, it's like it's making the choice that we never would have seen before. It might even be hard to see now. But because of what we've done up until this point, it's going to make it easier to see what the correct answer is. Love that. Still don't know. Well, I guess I feel better about the strategy now, but I'm like, see, this is why we feel like we ain't got no choice because y'all strategizing. But you know, they do say the divine is conspiring in my favor to get me the best possible outcome. So I like it. I appreciate it. But it's definitely been some real whatever. Oh. Oh. So the back is the moon, but the front is the high priestess. Because I was looking at these. I mean, I guess on the mini there is no back and there is no front because both sides are whatever. But the last energy oracle card, Archangel Ariel, what have you to say for yourself? No, I'm kidding. I say thank you. Because if you can't tell, I am one very, very stubborn. I used to be a lot more so stubborn mofo. I'm a stubborn mofo that won't stuff, and I don't want to have to do nothing. So you know what happens? I end up having to do stuff. I move because I want it more than I want to, like more than I want to not have to do anything. I want a lot. I want that lot more than I want to not have to do anything. So I think sometimes that's why I don't want to say that's why I don't get blessed. Because I do, but it's like I'll get lazy, I'll get complacent, and then I'll stop. That's why I haven't won the lottery yet. So I'm trying to prove to spirit that even if I am like buku rich, I'll still do the work. I'll still show up. And then as soon as I get the money, I can stop. I'm kidding. Happy family. That's that 10 of cups that we kept seeing with the lovers and with the 10 of pentacles. Like it feels like this is that vision that the 2 of wands had. This is where Archangel Ariel is trying to get at us. The bottom of the deck, though, is hostilities. These are the things that we need to work through. These are the things that actively oppose these two. 2 minus 6 is 4, or the difference of 2 and 6 is 4. 8 is also 4 twice. But under that hostilities, we have number 38, which is 4th chakra, Archangel Raphael. That's the healing of the hostilities to get us to receive this. So Ariel is just the face that came out because, I mean, the root is important, but the Kundalini rests in the sacral. And then it rises from there. But it is like, it's more than just Ariel, you know what I mean? The divine is scheming on your behalf to get you exactly what you want and where you want to be. And I think, too, it's like our happiness affects more than just us. Because it's an energy that it's an energy that radiates happiness, love, tranquility, peace. And it's like, that's what the world needs more of. And that's what, like, I think, too, with the Four of Pentacles, like, not only, like, there's this energy of, like, we need to become those who, like, give and who don't hoard, right? That's why it was the Four of Pentacles in the world. The world is the one that contributes to this cycle. The Four of Pentacles is the one that tries to, like, pull and pull and pull and pull. When the woman holding a heart came out, the more love you give, the more you get. But to withhold love, like, you can't hoard it and expect more of it. It'll suffocate. Like a flame without oxygen, it'll die. And that's why the King of Pentacles kept popping up too. Because the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles, the Court of Pentacles, are those who have enough wealth that they can contribute, like, they themselves are beyond okay. But also they contribute to the environment, they contribute to the community and the world around them at large. They're not selfish, they're not hoarders, they're not greedy. And it's because they give that they receive so much. Because the divine knows, like, this is a channel where we can put abundance and it will spread. So and it makes me think of that Leo's metal detector, and how the divine, in its grand knowing of the cosmic web, and it's apparently strategizing, whatever. It's like, okay, if I hit you with this abundance, then you're going to invest in this, and then that is going to turn into this other thing, and that thing is going to be what this person needs in like 5 years. That's going to be the thing that changes their life, so that then they can go on to change this other person's life. And that person is going to do this amazing thing for, like, everybody. And it's not just like one specific person, but it's like paying it forward in a way, right? They pay it to us, so we pay it forward anyway. All right. I hope y'all all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that I'm going to be nice. I hope that as the divine moves you through life, not moves you like you're a chess piece, guides you and assists you along your way. I hope you find the strength and courage to trust and proceed. I hope you find the comfort and warmth that you'll need, especially during some parts. And I hope that it all works out for you. I hope you end up happy. And I hope you allow yourself that happiness. So, no problem, Holly. Thank you, Holly and Jay and Kizzy Cat, for coming in, for being here. Oh, what a time. What a time to be alive, I guess. Have an excellent whatever morning, night, afternoon, evening, whenever you see this. And until the next time, maybe pay attention to your dreams. Because I don't know how many more Scorpio, Taurus. Well, in 2025, it's going to be Virgo, Pisces. So if it's Virgo, Pisces in 2025, this might be our last one. And then we'll move into Aries, Libra. So I don't know. Anyway, I'll catch y'all next time. Catch you. Bye.